Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan Lewis. Welcome to the Re-Evolve Media Revolution podcast, where we interview underground hip hop artists from across Canada, draw some spotlight on the scene, and discover some new personal favorites. Today's episode features Isaac Zale. Isaac Zale, man, what can I say? It's interesting to hear this chat with an artist whose music plays on rotation in my brain, uninvited but more than welcome. There's just something so genuine about this dude that I'm gonna keep this intro short and just let you get right to it. Something a little different we did that should be noted is that we went 3 rounds recording rather than the usual 2, so maybe I'll drop an anecdote or something during the intermission. But here's Isaac Zale. What is up, everyone? I'm here with Isaac Zale. Isaac Zale, how you doing, brother?
Good, bro. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So you're an artist born and currently residing in Vancouver, BC. Is that correct?
Yeah. I was born
Dope,
here, moved to Toronto for a bit, and then I moved back.
Moved to Toronto. Was that for a music move?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Why'd you bounce back and forth then?
Well, I moved there. I stayed there for a year and a bit, almost 2. And then I just got lonely, honestly. I did what I had to do there. And I had my family here, I had my girlfriend here, so I didn't really want to stay there too long.
Okay, interesting, man. That's totally fair. You went over there to pursue something specific in music, or was it just kind of like a natural move?
No, I did. I went there to actually pursue it because I guess in Canada, especially at the time, Toronto was kind of the place to be to get your foot in the
Yeah,
door.
I'd almost say so to this day, just because there's a
Yeah.
lot of more well-known artists out of that area.
Yeah, just the infrastructure is a bit better there.
There you go. That's the word, the infrastructure.
Yeah, it's better. It's getting better in Vancouver, but still, like relatively speaking, it's nothing compared to Toronto.
Understandable, man, for sure. From what I can see, your earliest releases here are from 2017, but the way you put out music, man, and the way you already seem as skilled as you are at that time, I can tell that's not when you first started doing music.
Yeah, I started writing when I was 11. I started probably like recording when I was 12.
Oh,
I
damn.
just I just went to like a Walmart and got a little USB mic and then just started recording just in my
Writing
room.
like hip hop at 11?
Yeah, I was writing raps and stuff.
That's crazy, dude. So you
Yeah.
essentially have just been working on this specific skill. Would you say that there's some influence from that time that you take that or would be kind of resemblant to your stuff today?
I
Or is
hope
it
not.
completely? You hope not?
I really hope not.
Well, man, if you're so young, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
there's some like had you had started when you were 15 instead, you know what I mean? If
You
there
know
would have
what?
been a difference.
You know what I would say? I if anything I take from that, it would be kind of the mindset and like the drive because
For sure.
I just remember I was really hungry. Like at that age, I was like, oh shit, like I want to do this. I'm gonna start this now. I'm gonna be proactive. And I think if anything, the only thing that's kind of stayed the same would be my mindset and my work ethic.
For sure. Interesting, man. What other career choices did you have at that age, or was it just like I'm gonna do music or nothing else?
Uh, at the time, I wanted to get into like
Even along the way, man, I'm sure you've had a couple of plan Bs that you're like, if music doesn't work out, I'll do
yeah.
this.
Well, I actually went 2 years. No, not 2 years. I went 1 year university at SFU studying kinesiology
Okay.
because I wanted to do something with like fitness and health or like the endocrine system.
Yeah.
But in my first year of university, I started, I guess, posting songs on SoundCloud, and they started doing pretty well. And the second I saw that happening, that's when I kind of realized I was like, okay, I have to make the move. I have to capitalize on this because there's something here. And if I ignore it, then you know I'll always wonder, oh, what if I nurtured that? What if I like honed in on my craft and made something out of it?
For sure, man. And that almost seems like without a doubt, you're like, okay, I'll regret this if I don't do it. So might as well make it happen.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's kind of that like practice, whatever training you had between when you were 11 and then this point, you're like, all right, it's actually can gain some traction. So I need to.
Yeah,
That's sick,
exactly.
man. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
how come it took until 2017 that you started releasing, or that I can even find music that you've been releasing? I'm sure you probably put them up before, like you were
that's
saying on
funny
SoundCloud.
because you're looking at my SoundCloud.
I was looking kind of everywhere I could find.
Yeah, because I did my best to to get rid of all of that. Make sure
Just to
nobody could ever find it.
bury it in other internet searches.
Yeah,
Yo.
like I on Spotify, like the furthest you could find for me is 2019. Like
Yeah, word.
but I've been dropping music. Like so I used to do this thing on YouTube when I was young, where every Friday I would drop a song or like a remix or something.
Hey,
And
okay.
I did that for about, I don't even know, maybe 5, 6 years.
Jeez.
And then after that,
Almost weekly or actually every week?
actually weekly, like
Damn,
actually every week.
dude.
And the reason I did that was more so because I wanted to get good at mixing and mastering.
For
And
sure.
so I used that kind of like a trial run, or like I guess like a practicum, in the
Yeah, yeah,
way,
yeah.
in the way that I forced myself to release something every Friday, whether it be good or not. But I did it more for like honing my work ethic, honing my diligence and my engineering skills, because that was always the hardest part for me, because I do all of that myself.
Yeah.
So it got to a point where like the writing and the performing of the raps and the singing wasn't necessarily the biggest stressor for me, and it moved to like the engineering, like the mixing of the song, the
Of
mastering of the
course, yeah.
song. So I knew that the way for me to truly get good at that is just kind of like, put my hand in the fire, do it.
Word, bro. I love that, especially because it's one of those talents. Just as with any art, you just develop it as you.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't really learn what next steps you take until you take the first steps, really, or
yeah. Like
take the next steps. Yeah.
I knew that, especially in this industry, the thing to do is the 10,000 hours. Like you
Oh,
need
for
that.
sure. Yeah,
And
you got to master it.
yeah, I knew as I was making those songs that they would not be in my catalog forever, but I
Ye-
knew that they were important and they were necessary in order for me to get that 10,000 hours, so that when I did turn 18 or 19 or 20, I would have the skill set to actually be able to make records I'd be proud of and leave them out for like my whole
Interesting.
career.
Do you think it was an important step to actually creating those tracks to the point of releasing them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what about the responses that you get from each piece? Were the responses kind of important to your growth and development as well? Did you key into
Uh,
those or?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, I kind of understood the sound that I wanted and like what I liked. And
Yeah.
for the most part, like those were the I guess the pieces that really built my fan base for me. Like they would see me rapping or freestyling or whatever
Yeah.
over these songs and just
Just
dropping.
hustling.
Yeah, and that actually is what kind of helped me grow my fan base a bit. And then when I stopped doing that and I actually started paying attention to like the composition and like, you know, actually making these records that I could be proud of, my fans transferred over and they adapted to what I was doing. They're like, "Oh, okay, this is even cooler."
That's really cool, man. I love
Yeah.
that as an origin story. That's really cool. And so, does that come up to your release as Zach Fluids, or were you always known as Zach Fluids during this time?
I was the whole time I was going under the Zach Fluids moniker, and I just changed to Isaac Zale last year,
Last
2020.
year, real
Yeah,
quick. Okay, so for about 10ish years, you were running under Zach Fluids.
yeah, yeah,
That's crazy,
yeah.
dude.
I still like, even now, if you search Zach Fluids in Spotify, like Isaac Zale will pop up because like
Yeah,
the
for sure.
metadata is so intertwined.
And then even on your most of your Isaac Zale stuff, you have formerly known as Zach Fluids as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, because I guess that was the name that really I did a lot with that name. So
No doubt,
transferring
yeah,
over was, it was kind of scary, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna lose all the momentum that I'm building, because that was right when I started like
for
getting some
sure.
actual momentum too, and I was like, you know
Yeah.
what, I see it happening now. I can't stand this name. I don't want to have to do this. I don't have to go under this forever. So
That's fair. So would it be safe to say that when you released Vault under Zach Fluids, that you were already kind of considering what name you wanted to move on to?
I would say it happened pretty quick. Like, I guess I was just young and I wasn't really thinking as about the name and the overall packaging of my product, and
For
I didn't
sure.
realize that the name is kind of the first thing people see, and it got to a point where I was just unhappy with it. I felt like it was immature and resembled just a younger version of myself that, I don't know. I feel like nobody really looks back at their younger versions of themselves and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's that guy right there."
Interesting.
So I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm not the person I was when I came up with the name, so why would I subject myself to a full career of being displayed by a name that I don't even resonate with?
That's fair, man. And so would you say the three projects I can see under the name Zach Fluids, Vault 2 and Music to Drown 2, would you say those kind of resemble that same kind of thought process that you have with Zach Fluids?
Yeah, yeah. Like when I made the change, I didn't necessarily want to change my musical style, even though that did kind of happen. But I just wanted to change the name because phonetically, I thought it sounded like shit.
Okay, fair. Like even just saying it on bars every now and then, or like trying to write lines to it. Okay.
I just thought it was so cringy. I was like, oh, it's this shit ass name.
You just needed to shed that skin and grow into the shoes that Isaac Zale can now fill.
Yeah, you know what it was, bro? It reminded me, nothing against battle rappers, but it reminded me of a battle rapper. And I was like, that's not the type of music I make. That's not the type of music I want to make.
Hey, like a specific battle rapper, or like Zach Fluids belongs as a battle rapper?
Yeah. Like
okay, I feel that.
It makes me feel like it belongs in the realm of battle rapping.
Okay.
Which I can't do. I can't even freestyle, bro.
Oh, see, that's what I was going to ask about your weekly releases. Were they just kind of like freestyles that you just put on paper and kind of forced out, or were they things that you actually took an artistic approach to?
They were all written.
Okay. That's sick, man. That's
Anytime
sick.
I try to freestyle, I'm actual ass. Like my producer, who doesn't even rap, can freestyle better than me.
Hey, do you think there's a reason for that? Do you ever want to get good at freestyling?
I think the reason is that I've always seen, like, I guess, songwriting as songwriting and not necessarily just like coming up with like a witty punchline in the moment for, like, you know.
I see what you're saying. Something that ends up being clever or smart. Yeah,
because there's a lot of value in that too. But I've never really put emphasis on that because I just genuinely don't care too much, honestly. Like, I would rather sit down and like read lyrics or listen to a song with someone who has like carefully crafted what they want to say to me, as opposed to just like, oh shit, he caught that punchline in the moment. Like, it's really cool, but it doesn't do the same thing for me.
I see what you're saying. So maybe there's kind of a difference in the artists who will write a whole bunch of lines that'll maybe fly over the majority of their listeners' head, which is different to the approach that you're trying to take.
Yeah, like I've always, not always, but as of late, I've put a lot of emphasis on the composition. Like, that's the most important thing to me.
Composition, as in terms of the like melodies and stuff?
I guess the overall songwriting, like the arrangement of the beat, the writing of the lyrics, like just how the overall song ends up. Because I feel like that's the piece that lives on. That's the piece you can go back and replay.
Dude, you're bringing me back to like music class in like grade 6, where I remember just listening to like symphonies and stuff when we were talking about like the old school original music, where they'd have kind of like a climax, or like they'd have emotion in the entire length of the track that suits where you are in the track.
Exactly. Like, I've always seen music as super cinematic and ethereal, and just kind of like the idea of just building a world around whatever, project you're working on or song you're making.
Yeah, or whatever emotion you're trying to put out there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool, man. Well, we'll take that first quick break I told you about, and we'll get right back to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Easy. And we are going to listen to a track by Isaac Zale. This one is called Lifted Up. Enjoy.
Yeah, ayy, and I came in with the ocean. Pop a millennium potion. Feel like it's 30 below shit. Baby, I'm sick of the voices. Shawty get covered in lotion. Ready to get the explosion. Insidious bitches are poison. My bitty get 10 and she knows it.
She just got the skirt so she can lift it up. I just got the earth and I get lifted up. Fuck around with the girth and she gets split up. Spirit got the dirt and I'm a mix with cuts. She just got the skirt so she can lift it up. I just got the earth and I get lifted up. Fuck around with the girth and she gets split up. Spirit got the dirt and I'm a mix with cuts.
Yeah, and she as wet as the ocean. I'm finna party like Moses, and I came in with Orisha. 2 of them looking like Olsons, and I just up my devotion. I keep a spell in the cauldron, going with the bread like it's toasted. Come with a stick and a scope in. I'm in an S430 in motion, my nigga, you bet I'm the owner. I need that head and consolement. Baby, will you be a donor? I'm off the tree, I'm a stoner. I'm always rolling alone, I'm a loner. She finna give me a boner, send me the nudies and tell me come over.
She just got the skirt so she can lift it up. I just got the earth and I get lifted up. Fuck around with the girth and she gets split up. Spirit got the dirt and I'm a mix with cuts. She just got the skirt so she can lift it up. I just got the earth and I get lifted up. Fuck around with the girth and she gets split up. Spirit got the dirt and I'm a mix with cuts.
And I came in with the C, bitch. Homies been claiming they see shit. Popping my 30th beam, bitch. Tryna get closer to Jesus. Tell him his book is a fable. A stallion stuck in the stable. Italian blood in my navel. I'm Julius Caesar, so stay low. I think my boo is an angel. Did you know Gucci make halos? Pay me on top of the table. I need the bread even if it's a day old. I'm in the cut, I'm on lay low. She got a punk and remind me of J-Lo. Gotta keep 3 in the stable. How in the fuck are you keeping it stable? I'm always willing and able. Can't trust no one, can't kill Abel. You only concerned with Alfredo. Do what you straight, I don't come at an angle. All that I've been through, painful. You probably do anything for a label. All that I've been through, made through. Self-made deal, ain't nobody make you.
She just got this dirt so she can lift it up. I just got the earth and I get lifted up. Fuck around with the girl and she can split it up. Spirit got the dirt and I'm a mix with colors. She just got this dirt so she can lift it up. I just got the earth and I get lifted up. Fuck around with the girl and she can split it up. Spirit got the dirt and I'm a mix with colors.
I'm beyond this shit. Watch me take my time again. Out my mind again. Can you help me find this shit? Never mind that shit. Hate me all the time, I bet. Out of time again. Don't be wasting my friend.
What is good, everyone? I'm back with Isaac Zale. Isaac Zale, how you doing, brother?
I'm great, bro.
Great, homie. Great. Good to hear. Just what we were talking about before with your practicing and mixing and mastering and getting up to that point and doing those weekly releases so that you can get up to kind of the point you are at today. What where did you find you learned the most? I know experience is the best teacher, but where did you learn the most otherwise, like outside of just practicing yourself?
YouTube tutorials. Yeah.
Actually?
Bro, I literally, everything I know is either from YouTube tutorials or I would read interviews with engineers that I really looked up to, like Derek Ali or Alex Tomei.
Just kind of get in their minds.
Yeah, and I would look at their little tricks and the things that they did, and just putting that into practice, you kind of start to develop your own engineering style, and you start to become really comfortable with it, and the pieces kind of fall into place after you do it for so long. Word.
Do you feel like there was any like big clicks along the way, or it's all kind of just a bunch of small, gradual increases in performance?
In regards to like rapping
to
or engineering.
Well, let's say because you have so many hats. What would you say your best talent is, or do you kind of full package it?
I would say full package it. I feel like if I had to say what my best talent is, it would be making a song, like everything that comes along with making a song. So
like creative direction.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know if that's the right word to encompass it all, but it sounds like it.
I don't want to necessarily say songwriting, but I just want to say song making, like writing the song, recording the song, mixing the song. Is that because you've made the best progress or the most progress in it, or is that just kind of the way you feel the most pride in your work? That's just, well, for me, it came from a place where studio sessions were expensive, engineers were expensive. I didn't have any money when I was a kid, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna work my barista job until I have enough money to have equipment. And then I just bought the equipment, and knowledge is free. So I invested in my time, and I learned. So I had the equipment, and then the only thing I needed was the knowledge. And I spent my time to, obtain the knowledge. Then I knew what I was doing. But the biggest click for me, bro, was I got a new compressor. The second I got a new vocal compressor, I was like, oh shit,
no way.
Here we go.
That changed the game?
Like changed the game for me. I was like, holy shit, is this really all it takes?
I've never heard of that before. Just to get your vocals on the right like dynamics levels was the game changer for you.
Yeah, at least for me, because I've always had a, like when I was younger learning how to engineer, I've always had a hard time getting the vocal to fit in the pocket of the song the way that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then one day I was like, yo, this is enough. Like I have to do something. So I bought a whole bunch of compressors, and I started doing serial compression where I'll use maybe 2 compressors, and instead of just, putting all of the load onto one compressor and doing a huge gain reduction on one, I split the load onto multiple compressors, and I got different characters out of each. And I just played with it so long that I finally found, just the right plugins and the right compressors that complement my voice.
Yeah.
And the second that I did that, like, I adjusted all the other plugins around it. I adjusted everything around that. And I kind of found my vibe.
Man, how did you build the kind of discipline and patience it takes to even get to that level where you're going to try all these different options?
I've been like that, bro.
Because I know there must be sessions where you're sitting there for like hours and you're like, I don't know. Me personally, I know there's sessions I sit there for hours and then I kind of not get sick of it, but I definitely lose that motivation.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. Like, I've always really been like that. Like, I won't allow myself to walk away from something, and sometimes it's a bad thing, but
For sure.
I just won't
I can
allow.
see how it would be. Yeah.
I just won't allow it. Like, even if it seems hard, or even like it seems like it might not be the best decision for me in the moment, health wise, I'm still gonna do it because at the end of the day, I told myself I was gonna do this shit, so I'm gonna do it. And
It's that same thing where you don't want to know what life would be like if you didn't do it.
yeah, and also it's just the principle of commitment, right? Like, I committed to this, I'm gonna do it. And even as a kid, like, I did MMA as a kid,
Yo.
and I hated it, but I did it every single day,
Yeah.
every single day.
Who got you into the octagon or the ring?
My dad
Your
really loved
dad,
it.
yeah.
And and at the time I was like, like, I hate this, like, I don't know why, like, I have to do this. But then the more I just like realized, like, you know what, it's not about what I'm doing, it's about the fact that I have committed to this and I'm going to become good at it. And that was kind of a lesson for me, and I learned that when I was really young. Like, I started that shit when I was about 10.
Ooh.
And that's something that I definitely maybe I resented my dad for a bit about it, but
In the time or like
at
even
the
shortly
time,
after?
at the time. But then
Yeah.
the more I realized, like, he wasn't doing this because he wanted me to be a fucking, like, GSP or some, like,
Yeah.
UFC fighter. He was doing it because he wanted to teach me diligence. And at the end of the day,
Wow.
I did become good. And then I was like, oh shit, now I have these skills. But above all that, I had the skill of work ethic and drive, and understanding that quitting is not going to bring me to where I want to be in life.
Yeah. And that if you put in the time and effort and put in the hours, that it's not necessarily success is guaranteed, but progress, that
Yeah.
for sure is fucking guaranteed.
And also sometimes in life, like, you have to do things that you may not like, but there's a reason for that, and you may not understand it at the time. Like, I never understood why I was doing MMA. I was like, I don't like this. I'm not a fighter. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, it's not about that. It's not about the act of what I'm doing. It's about the fact that I'm not going to give up.
That's interesting, man. So where do you feel like these kind of like directions that you're given or like these paths that you're taking come from then? Like these urges to go in these certain directions? Is it kind of like a universal flow? I know you've got a few religious themes in your music, so maybe we'll touch on that.
Well, okay. Well, religious.
Maybe not religious is the poor word to say, but you've got some biblical references and
Yeah, which is
some
funny
talks to
'cause
God.
I'm not very religious, but I was born in, like, an Italian household, so
Okay,
my
yeah.
my grandparents were very religious, and I was, like, raised around it.
Yeah.
But
And like they're the straight Italian grandparent type
like,
of
straight from
religion.
Italy.
Yo,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so,
Right by
like,
the Vatican.
yeah, so, like, I'll go to my nonna's house, and she has, like, these, like, Jesus cloths with it, just
Yo.
knitted by herself. I was like,
Yeah.
and I always give her a hard time too. I'm like, no, who's that guy? She's like, disgraziato. I'm like, okay, all right.
That's hilarious, man.
It's funny.
So is that where a lot of your references kind of stem from? Not necessarily your own direct connection, but kind of just the
Yeah, just that. And
collateral,
also,
yeah.
like, I did read the Bible just because I was bored, but
Yeah.
I just see it as a bunch of metaphors. I don't necessarily agree with much of anything in it, honestly,
Okay, fair.
but I
just
just thought
thinking
it was interesting.
in terms of you saying like if you the things that you're doing, there's no point in kind of like fighting with it. You just got to do it. So it's almost like everything happens for a reason type
And
mentalities.
I think, yeah, but I think everything happens to teach you discipline. And I think
Everything though, like everything.
well, I guess in respect to my own story.
Okay. No, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair. All we can do is reference our own
Yeah,
stories.
that's what I thought
but-
we were talking about.
Yo.
But are you talking
What
about,
do you
like,
think it could be
universally?
for? Yeah, I don't know really what I'm getting at here. I'm trying to like pick out points from the music as well as trying to relate it to the conversation before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd say universally, like, there's certain things that absolutely should not happen, and they are just tragedies at the end of the day.
Of course.
But certain things, like, I mean, like, the most I
what
can.
about even your tragedies, bro?
For me, there are things that, like, at the end of the day, I still don't understand why have happened and why they
Yeah.
needed to happen.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that they happen for a reason, but I'm saying I like to believe that they do
Okay, I see what
for
you're
my own
saying.
sanity.
Yeah, it's better to believe kind of in that line than to
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what am I supposed to do? Like,
for real.
you know, like fuck, just mourn or grieve over like certain things, certain people who have
Straight.
passed. Like, I'm not going to, you know, there's nothing that could really justify a certain tragedy. Like, there's really no reason that it could have happened. But at least for me, and the way I would like to frame it is like something has to come out of this.
I feel you.
You
And
know?
that almost goes back to the if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it because you don't want to live a life where it was like a what could have been type style.
Yeah, exactly.
I see the parallel there. That's really
Yeah.
cool, man. Let's talk about Burgundy Soul a little bit. So this is
Yeah.
this is a record label or a group that you started
Yeah,
with
well,
some of the homies.
Yeah. It started off as a collective with me,
A collective,
and
yeah.
well, I founded it, and I was working with my buddy who was producing for me at the time, and then I just recruited my friends because they were all interested in the same thing. They were all interested in creating and music.
Like friends from the beginning when you were doing music at an early age, or like kind of friends
Yeah.
you've met along the way. Okay, sick.
Yeah, no, like my day ones.
Yo,
Yeah,
that's unreal to have that circle from the beginning, man. And then
Yeah.
to this day.
yeah. I will say it's getting smaller, but
Oh,
the ones
dude,
the ones who are
natural
still
progression.
in it,
Yeah,
the ones who are still in it, like I love them to death. So
that's weird, bro. So when did you start Burgundy Soul?
16.
16? Oh shit. Okay, here I was thinking the transition to Isaac Zale and Burgundy Soul kind of happened along the same time.
No.
So
I started that.
what were your thoughts when you were starting Burgundy Soul? Sorry.
My thoughts were
Like, what'd you want to do?
I wanted to. Well, I mean, as a kid, I always had like a bit of a business sense to me. So I was thinking in the long term. I'm like, I need to make a business. I need to make like an LLC, just in the future for like, you know, maybe tax purposes or whatever. And I was
Yo,
like,
I feel that.
what if I could just start this collective now and then morph it into a business in the future, so then I can give all my homies like salaries and shit like that.
Okay.
And that was
so,
kind of like my goal for it.
yeah. It
and
was
also
a
just
foot in the door with bigger prospects.
Yeah, and just to give my friends and the people around me like a sense of a home or like a belonging in a movement. So that's kind of why I started the collective.
So you're kind of identifying around you these people that are on the same wave or like similar journey to you, and you wanted to figure out how to like utilize that energy to its best potential.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
cool, man. So what do you see that turning from into today versus what it used to be 5 years ago? Because you said it started as a collective, and now I would refer to it as kind of like a record label. It seems from my perspective.
Well, that's actually my goal with it. Like we'll keep working on myself to the point where I can branch out and, you know, fully realize Burgundy Soul. But
Of course.
once I get to a point where I have the leverage that I want to have, I'll start signing people to Burgundy Soul.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Those are big prospects, man.
Yeah, we also offer like production services, mixing and mastering services. Like we do a lot of things out of it.
Is that something that you find Vancouver is thriving on in general, or do you think that's because of the internet? It's more of kind of just you've got the access, you've got the connections, time to make some money off of it from a different angle.
Definitely the internet.
The internet, yo.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking because what we were talking about earlier as well, with Toronto being one of the main scenes, Vancouver in my mind, Vancouver is secondary, almost catching up to Toronto.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was wondering what your thoughts are on the scene there
in Vancouver.
In Vancouver, yeah.
I think it's great, man. Like I think the artists that are coming out of Vancouver now are incredible.
How about participating in the scene from the perspective of an artist, or maybe not like what it was now, but let's say when we could actually participate in the scene?
It was cool. I will say, the one thing that I learned even from moving to Toronto was it doesn't really matter like where exactly you are. Like,
yo,
if I have my computer and I have some Wi-Fi, I can make a career.
Yo, if you're willing to put in that work, and especially because you have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, I'm very grateful to be from Vancouver too. I love the city. I think it's great. All of my peers and like fellow musicians are amazing.
Yo, did you have that realization when you were in Toronto that you didn't actually need to be anywhere specific?
That's exactly where I realized it, because I was like, I mean, it did help me to be in Toronto because I made some connections there that are still very important to me. But I don't think I had to stay there for 2 years. I could have went there for a week.
So it was almost like a field trip for your learning, all that learning that you did at home.
Yeah, and also it wasn't very good for the mental space either, just to be alone in such a gloomy city.
Is it like that? I guess if you're an outsider, eh?
Maybe just the mindset that I was in, and maybe just the place I was with myself. I kind of went there.
Well, dude, to
pretty
do that
down.
at a pretty young age, I'd say
18,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it was just it was a dark time for me, but if I didn't do that, I don't think I would have anything to rap about.
That's sick, man. Well, do you have we're reaching our overtime here. Do you have any tips for actually, well, how do I want to end this? What moves in your career would you say opened the most doors for you?
I think when I collaborated with Mick Jenkins and Coda the Friend.
Okay, so the big collabs.
Yeah, and this one's not out yet, but I have one with Smoke Perp.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
So how did you work up to getting these collabs these are big names, man?
Thanks.
What were the steps? What were the steps? Obviously, other than working on your craft and putting yourself out there, were there any like kind of key moves that you're like, these were the treasure trails to get to this?
I think the one thing is just to be consistent and focus on your own fan base, but also if you can find a team, like a management team or like certain A&Rs or certain, people in the industry who truly believe in you and want to mentor you, they can help you a lot with certain things like that because they have the connections to these artists. They can link you with these artists. And like when it comes to features, that was really important to me because I had a cosign from someone in the industry that, is pretty well known, is pretty respected, and they were able to help me with that.
Amazing, man. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, brother. Is there anything you want to say for the sign off to anyone who's listening?
Yeah, collab album with Chewy called Think Good Thoughts drops on the 30th of April.
Beauty. How many tracks are we looking at?
9 tracks.
9 tracks.
9
Sick.
tracks.
And what type of project is this?
It's a joint tape. So Chewy's one of those artists that I've been listening to since I was like a kid, and like I've always really looked up to the dude.
Yeah.
And he was on my debut album on the song Oracle, and then I just tweeted after the album dropped. I was like, "This is my favorite song on the album," and he replied to the tweet. He's like, "We should make an EP." So I texted him. I'm like, "We should make an album."
Yo.
And then we just did.
Easy.
So it's like a rap
sick,
album.
Man. All right. I'm looking forward to it, man. And I gotta be honest, I never got a chance to fanboy over your music yet. But dude, you like I think I was messaging you. I was like, yo, your early content's good, man. I want to dig more into this before the interview. But
thanks.
I tried to say it enough, dude. Your skills have come up to a point that obviously practice has made clear dude, you're fucking sick. Let's put it that way.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for joining me today, brother.
Thank
Isaac
you for having
Zale.
me.
Yeah, of course. All right. Take care, homie.
All right, bro.
Peace. We were going to cut the interview there, but we kept chatting off the record and instead decided to go for a third round. Isaac Zale to me represents the determination and diligence I wish I showed my music not just years ago, but even to this day. I have no idea why this is the case, but for some reason I found other activities or habits to participate in that weren't beneficial to progress or to building my character. The strangest thing is that at the time I knew that what I was doing was detrimental. I knew that, conversely, putting in the practice would have led to me having beefier skills and the collateral benefits. This interview has inspired me because one thing I know for sure is that it's not too late. But it is absolutely a fact that if the work is put in, the results are guaranteed. And the same goes for self-destruction. I know that's a serious statement, but that's hip-hop, baby. Round 3, Isaac Zale. Let's get it. I don't know how I'll edit it in. I'll figure it out in the future. But let's just keep going with that chat that we were having.
All right.
Yeah. So off the record, we were talking about. What were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about. I was asking you if you got love for the Vancouver scene. If you think that Vancouver's success is something to look forward to.
Yeah.
To look for and help towards.
Absolutely. Like I was saying, when we stopped recording, I definitely got love for the city, but more importantly, I have love for my friends, my peers who are also making music, and regardless of where they are from, and like whether or not they're from Vancouver, I want to see them succeed. I want to see them become successful, and even if that means they become successful before me, I just want to see it happen for them.
For sure, man. Well, to me, hip hop is still the most influential genre. I'm pretty sure it's still the most profitable as well. I think, I could be wrong, but do you think that like Canadian hip hop also has to take that view on the pedestal, and that should be something we should be working towards building? Or what do you think, or even as just an individual artist, where do you think you can have the most impact? I know that was like 5 questions in one, but
which can you repeat the question? I zoned
I,
out.
I was that's fair, dude. I kind of went on a tangent. I was saying, as far as like kind of Vancouver hip hop
Yeah.
goes, or like building even the Canadian hip hop scene,
Yeah.
what do you think is more important, and where do you think, as an individual artist, that you can have the most impact?
I don't think it's a geographical thing, bro.
No.
I think it's
See, but people have pride. Like, oh, yo, like you even said off the record, they're one of the reasons you accepted this interview.
always because
The Canadian flag in the bio.
yeah, I mean, I won't say I think it was the fact that you were a Canadian publication, and I know maybe in comparison to the music scene in America or hip hop at large, Western Canada specifically is kind
Yo.
of neglected a bit. So I saw that you were a publication and you had the Canadian flag, and you asked me to interview, and I just thought it would be cool. It would be cool to talk to someone
Okay,
about,
word.
and just like do what I
Western
can.
Canada. Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think it's more important kind of to get Western Canada, or even let's say the rest of Canada, to catch up to the hotter spots?
Yeah, it's tricky because like Canada as a whole sure is not necessarily like too known for hip hop or the music scene, but
Word.
at the same time, if you look at the biggest artists in the game right now, Drake, Weeknd, Bieber, they're all
All out of
Canadian.
Canada. Yeah.
So it's kind of like is Canada truly like dismissed? Because if you look at the charts, it doesn't seem to be that way.
Do you think that's because those certain artists are hard to ignore? Because I almost see them in a sense like people are shining the spotlight away from us. Feel free to disagree
No.
with me.
I don't think people are. I don't think it's intentional. I think if we go back to like the talk about infrastructure, I just think
Yo.
there's so many cities in the states that actually have the infrastructure for the music industry, like New York,
Okay.
Atlanta,
Yeah, yeah,
Chicago, LA, even like Florida. Well, that's not a city, but like Miami or whatever. Like
No, I feel you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like there's just so many hot spots for music in the states, so that that might just shine a little bit brighter than the one hot spot that we have, which is Toronto.
Now, does that mean more of like an active scene, or kind of just more bigger connections
In Canada or in the States?
in states? That like the
Um,
infrastructure that we're talking about is like literal kind of like buildings and like recording studios, or is it kind of just like more fans and more big names that can get to other people's names, like kind of
no,
worldwide?
because I think the thing about fans is you could be literally anywhere, and you could get people to fuck with you,
That's
because
true.
it's like the internet, right? Like if I really wanted to, I could start a YouTube channel and start like vlogging or doing reaction videos
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
and get
And casually
fans.
blow up that way. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think when I say infrastructure for the music scene, I don't necessarily mean like recording studios and things like that. I mean the people, the important people to know, the great labels, like the great
Okay.
A&Rs, like they
Yeah.
tend to be in America.
I see what you're saying. So do you think we should bring kind of that attention here, or we should create it here?
I think it's on the right path, because I
Yeah.
know a lot of very important music people who are American, who are they're looking past the border. They're starting to sign kids up here. So I think it's
Okay.
happening.
Interesting. So do you think as an artist it's more important to just kind of keep on doing what you're doing, building your craft and honing your skills? Or do you think that there's any effort people should be putting into to kind of creating that infrastructure instead of trying to be looked out for?
Mm, Personally, as an artist, I think the only thing that an artist can stress about is the quality of the art.
Okay.
And maybe the people around them, like who don't necessarily make music but have passion for the music industry, they could maybe focus on building the infrastructure, or doing things like helping the scene flourish, as opposed to putting the pressure onto the artist who is already running themselves pretty thin with the creating of the music. I think it would be a
Word, bro.
collective thing, right? Like I think the artists have to make sure the product that they make is immaculate,
Yeah.
and the people around them that want to see them succeed and be part of the team, maybe they should be the ones who kind of focus on the infrastructure and the business side of it.
Man, that makes so much sense.
At least
Yeah.
for me, like at the end of
I
the day,
agree.
I don't know that much. I'm just chilling. Like I
You just know
literally,
what you've seen, yeah.
like I've never even recorded a song in a studio. I just do everything from my basement. So
Hey, easy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's more or less about not even just like it's not necessarily getting the team that already has the skills, but inspiring kind of the team that you have to develop those skills that would kind of be
Yeah,
mutually beneficial.
I think so. I think that that's very important.
So it's kind of like, and that's sort of kind of the goal that you're having with Burgundy Soul there.
Yeah, that's actually why I brought it up, because like I got like my buddy Gavin, he's in Burgundy Soul. He doesn't
Yeah.
make music, he doesn't make beats, but he's got the heart and the passion that like is very hard to find, and I know he has it. So I told him like he's the perfect example of someone who should, channel that passion into maybe the business end of the music industry,
Okay.
because there are a lot of people like that who don't necessarily have musical talent, but that doesn't mean they can't be successful in the music industry.
Yeah, they have other knowledge that can relate and overlap.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I find that really interesting, man, because I think that's one of the biggest obstacle a lot of artists face is to find that manager who I feel like it's really hard to find that person who wants to be a music manager and make them a music manager. You kind of got to
yeah,
inspire someone who's got management abilities to kind of take on that role.
yeah. Like I got really lucky with my manager. Like he hit me up when I was making YouTube videos, like when I was a kid,
Oh,
and he was
hey.
working for some blog, but now he's like the artist relations manager at Genius, and he popped off with his career at the same time I was starting to build some momentum, so it just worked out well, and I got lucky.
Yeah.
But for kids who maybe aren't experiencing that right place, right time situation that I did, just tell one of your friends like, "Hey, man, you're passionate about this. Learn this shit."
Yo, this guy says lucky after years of practice, though. You're hilarious.
Okay,
I,
maybe it's fate.
Yo, fate. Well, time and what is it? Practice and patience meets or opportunity. Fuck. Do you know the quote I'm trying to say? I always fuck these
No.
quotes up on live. It's luck is when practice meets opportunity. I think
Yeah,
that's
there you
it.
go.
Right?
You want to know a dope quote that I just found?
Let's hit it.
Live, laugh, love.
What do you mean you just found
I'm
it?
kidding, I'm
You're
playing.
like, yo, this is what's changing my
This
life
shit-
right now.
This shit is the deepest shit I've ever heard in my life, bro.
Bro, you heard of eat, pray, love, or whatever the
Pray.
fuck that one?
I've heard of that. I
Hey.
don't know what it is though.
I think it's a movie.
Oh.
Oh, well,
I feel like
listen,
that's something my mom would watch.
Eat, Pray, Love, dude. That's okay. I got another question for you about the value of Facebook. Just bringing up moms because I had a
Oh
buddy
my
who told me
God.
that the reason anybody or the only reason anyone would use Facebook, there is not really a reason. It's because it's just everybody's moms that's on it. So
Yeah.
as far as social media platforms go and kind of like using it as an avenue for your music, how valuable is Facebook? What do you find the most valuable?
Oh, dude, actually haven't. I haven't even logged into Facebook in a year.
Hey, so you abandoned it a long time ago.
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly don't know what I would use Facebook for. Maybe if I was into like MILFs or something, but I don't know what I would use
Yo.
Facebook for.
I like how you're saying it like it's still possible in the future. Like maybe that door will open.
No.
Yeah. So what do you use as your main social media goals?
Just Instagram, Twitter.
And you just use it casually, eh? You
Yeah.
don't kind of use it for like pressure marketing or anything.
No. If anything, like I'll play around on TikTok, and like I don't really take it too seriously.
Yeah.
But
It's more just for fun.
Yeah. I guess my main social media would be my Spotify, which is not even really social media. But if I want to say something, I'll put it on a song, and then like my followers there will just listen to it.
Yeah. Oh, in that regard, man, when it comes to song creation, where do you find you spend the most of your time? Let's say you're like fully producing, mixing, mastering, writing top to bottom a single track. Where does the majority of the pie go to?
I would say the majority would be getting the recordings to sound as good as I want them to.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm really
no one take Drake?
No, I don't do that, because for me, I've always had like a really strong sense of rhythm,
Yeah.
and if a syllable is like, I don't know, off time by like a little bit or like out of pocket a bit, like I'll hear it and it'll drive me crazy, and I'll be like, no, like this has to be like, right in the pocket, and like
Yo.
I usually use a lot of syllables, so it can be a little bit tricky. And even if I get it in right away, like there's certain things like I'll re-listen to my performance, and I'm like, I only have one chance to put this song out. I want to make sure my performance is better than what I imagined it to be in my head.
I like that, man. So do you do kind of like 10 takes and then check them all over, or do you do a few
Well,
and then kind of redo them as you
No,
need to?
like so what I'll do is I'll actually do one take,
Okay.
and then I'll print out a bounce of the song, and then I'll listen to the song for a few days, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do it again, because I found for me, like when I when I listen to a demo of the song, my brain kind of naturally becomes familiar with the rhythm.
Yo.
And it becomes like kind of like, I guess, subconscious, to the point where when I go back and I re-record it, it's so much more natural. It's less stiff.
I see what you're saying. You know, like kind of those exact differences in inflections and enunciation that you need to hit.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And do you think that's also years of practice, or do you think that's just like a personal trait?
I think it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that speaks to me as like, because you've obviously got skills that you've honed for years and years, and then you've got these talents that it just feels kind of like natural to you, almost like they're like additional limbs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're traits that I think a lot of artists, I don't know if you can say you can work towards certain things like that, but they're definitely something to kind of aspire up to.
Yeah, for sure.
Word, dude. Well, thank you for going round 3 with me, bro. We should cut it here because my production time is like 4 minutes per 1 minute of recording.
Yeah. Sounds good, bro. Sounds good.
But yo, mad respect to the amount of effort. Like I learned a lot from you that I think is super valuable, and I hope everyone else did as well. Especially in that last thing you just said about where you spend the most time and you're in actually recording, dude.
Yeah. That and the engineering, definitely.
And the engineering. Well, the thing about the recording thing, though, is that a lot of people think that you just got to get the recording pretty decent and then the audio engineer can figure it out.
Yeah, I hate that, bro.
Yo, especially wearing all the hats. Yeah. Anyways, homie, thank you so much for joining me again. I really appreciate it.
Man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
For sure.
Okay, take it easy,
all right, bro. See you.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Isaac Zale. If you want to learn a little bit more about him, head on down to www.reevolvemedia.com/Isaac Zale. And we are going to finish off with another track by him. This one is called Ziploc. I hope you enjoy and take care.
Got about an ounce in a Ziploc. I leave a bitch boy pissed off. Pish posh, get your shawty sitting crisscross. This god, like I'm clutching on my crystals. Big rocks, and I'm not out here to flip none. Deep pockets, I empty when my bitch want. Wristwatch, look at shiny when I drip drop. Big dog, never running when a bitch blow. Shit gods, like I'm clutched on a crystal. Big rocks, and I'm not out here to flip none. Anymore paranoid, keep the pistol. Fuck it, then I dress and the kid go big ghost. Yeah, whole world in a limbo. Shit, bro, I'm a dip when she give, bro. Never will I ever stick round through the fiscal. Said she wanna dance, do I look like a disco? I got about an ounce in a Ziploc. I leave a bitch boy pissed off. Pish posh, get your shawty sitting crisscross. This god, like I'm clutching on my crystals. Big rocks, and I'm not out here to flip none. Deep pockets, I empty when my bitch want. Wristwatch, look at shiny when I drip drop. Big dog, never running when a bitch blind. I got a whole lot in a Ziploc, we don't stop. Man, these niggas on pit stop, she need cock. Big homie, she a big thought, TV off. All she wanna do is TikTok, auto mark. All she wanted was a big watch, Autobahn. All she wanna do is switch cars, CB4. Fake niggas got me pissed off anymore. Paranoid, need a pissed off. San Andreas, her big brother let the clip off. Fuck you too, her phone call got me pissed off. Fuck you too, I slide by, she get flipped off. Shut your trap or you gon' run your damn lips off. I got about an ounce in a Ziploc. I leave a bitch boy pissed off. Pish posh, get your shawty sitting crisscross. This god, like I'm clutching on my crystals. Big rocks, and I'm not out here to flip none. Deep pockets, I empty when my bitch want. Wristwatch, look at shiny when I drip drop. Big dog, never running when a bitch bark. Leave a bitch boy pissed off. Pish posh, got your shawty sitting crisscross. This godly, I'm clutching on my crystals. Big rocks, and I'm not out here to flip none. Deep pockets, I empty with my bitch one. Wristwatch looking shiny when I drip drop. Big dog, never running when a bitch bark. But I got a hit grind, get chips still. Never wonder if it's love, baby, it's real. Independently, I'm kinda like a big deal. You don't know what I done been through this week. Swear to God, I'm tired of dealing with these pip squeaks. I ain't never in disguise, nigga, it's me. And I ain't never had to hide, come and get me. Come and get me.
You'll never see how lonely I am. Shawty wanna bleed me slowly, I'm dead. I'ma take the doors up the suicide down. Never put the pressure in the palm of my head. My hands, palm of my hands. My hands, never put the pressure in the palm of my hands. I got about an ounce in a Ziploc. I leave a bitch boy pissed off. Pish posh, got your shawty sitting crisscross. This guy think I'm clutching on my crystals. Big rocks and I'm not out here to flip night. Deep pockets are empty with my bitch on. Wrist watch, like a shawty when I drip dry. Big dog, never running when I'm bitch.